because everyone has them out different ways. No one knows how to use them.
Pointing up, pointing sideways.
Welcome to Tech Notice, everyone. So I don't know if you knew this already, but yesterday DJI launched a new drone, and that was called DJI MAVIC Air 2. I know the names might be a little bit confusing, but instead of me rambling on some of the specs and talking about this, I thought, why don't we get an expert along? There he is.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt. Nice to join you on the channel. Thank you for having us.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good as well. Interesting times in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, you know, obviously lots going on given the current situation, and yeah, interesting time for a drone release, I'd say as well, given everything that's going on.
So I'm filming in a loft. Where are you filming from?
I'm actually in my garage at the moment. So on the channel, normally we've got a proper studio, but obviously we can't, you know, it's a non-essential journey, so we can't make that. So yeah, I'm like stuck in the end of my echoey old garage. So apologies in advance for the kind of poor quality of sound and stuff like that. It's not how we normally roll, but yeah, we're making do, aren't we? We're doing our best.
Don't worry about it, because what I can see, Matt, over there, I can see like paint cans and everything around the garage as well, which is quite funny. That's
it. Hopefully the smoke and mirrors and the magic of production means we can get rid of that, right? So
yeah, I'll just edit it out. I'll put some nice beach in the background or something for you.
Thanks.
If you're watching this and you don't know who Matt is, then let me tell you something about Matt, and then Matt might, you know, add something as well. So Matt is actually used to be a helicopter pilot, and now he's actually running like a big drone company. Interestingly enough, the biggest drone company in the world. And what would you say, is it biggest drone education company in the world? How would you say it?
Yeah, so it's the biggest commercial drone training company in the world.
There it is, that's what. So if we're talking about drones, I think he's the best person to ask, and you know he knows what he's talking about basically. Why don't we talk about the Mavic 2 then? Matt, shall we go through some of the specs of the Mavic, and then we'll talk about what you think about this Mavic?
Yeah, of course, no worries at all. Let's do it.
Okay, so I thought we'll play a little game kind of with the specs, because then to get the specs quickly out of the way, I'm gonna like kind of throw one spec at you, and then you're gonna throw one spec back at me.
Yep.
And then if you're watching this and you might be already an expert in drone specs and you're thinking, whoa, these guys missed something out, feel free to comment in the section below. We'll both be in the comment sections below as well. If you have any other questions, we'll meet you down there. Why don't you start this off, Matt, and throw me one of the spec that is new in the Mavic Air 2 and what wasn't there before?
I think the big one is the weight, first of all, so 570 grams, which is quite interesting. Not the lightest, but certainly not the heaviest, but where it falls in the regulations is quite interesting. 570 grams on the weight side of things.
For me, I'm going to say it's a bigger sensor, half an inch sensor, isn't it right?
Yeah, half-inch sensor, yeah. 34 minutes flight time. Very good.
4K, 60 frames per second, up to 60 frames per second. That's new, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, eh? Especially in the drone this price point, this small. So yeah, that's good.
Because some of the older ones, even some of the bigger ones don't have, or like the higher end ones don't have 60 frames per second, do they?
They don't, no. So yeah, it's quite a big win, I would say, in that respect from it. I think that the other one is the bit rate, 120 per second maximum. Mm-hmm. We don't quite know yet the difference between the American ones and the UK, kind of the EU versions, in terms of what the bit rates look like for each of the resolutions, but 120 is, you know, it's good. That's pretty kick-ass really for, again, a drone this small.
It's got OcuSync, not Wi-Fi anymore, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. And I think that was, for me, that was the one thing that the original Mavic Air was missing. It was the fact that it was a Wi-Fi link, and it was you know, intermittent at best. And yeah, OcuSync 2 in this, you know, giving up to 10 kilometers range where that's legal. Not that we can do that in the UK, right? But yeah, that is, I think, one of the biggest upgrades in this over everything else.
Okay, your turn.
Oh, crikey. So what we're looking at, it's got the sensors on it as well. Not on the top and the sides though on this one, which is interesting, but it's got the kind of sensors in the front, so a bit of obstacle avoidance built in as well.
I think it's got Active Track 3.0 now as well.
Yeah, that's it. So it should be able to do some of the tracking internally using its AI, which is, again, a really kind of cool feature, if you like. And I think, yeah, from my side, part of that whole system is the smart return to home, where it will, you know, work out how to get itself home safely based on the flight path that you've flown and using the sensors that it has. Not that it's got all those sensors on as we talked about, but yeah, quite a cool safety feature to have.
Okay, I think, is it your turn? Is it my turn?
Your turn. Is it?
My turn.
Yeah.
I think it can shoot hyperlapses in 8K. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see how that looks like.
Yeah, and again, I think they're going head to head with this, aren't they? With like the other drones that are out on the market at the moment. So they're having to put these extra bits in there to make that work. So it's quite interesting. I can't wait to see that in action properly for myself.
Your turn.
My turn. Crikey. What else are we going to get on this? I think. We said flight time already, haven't we? But the battery system on this is quite interesting. It seems that DJI now are starting to move, especially on these small drones, to the lithium-ion technology away from lithium polymer, which I think is a lot safer in terms of being a consumer product, because the LiPo batteries, a lot of people don't realise they're quite volatile. But yeah, moving away from the LiPo to 3-cell lithium ion is quite a big jump, and it's interesting to see that they're starting to do that on all of these smaller drones that they're producing now.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. That was new for me. I think the megapixels in the photo mode is new. So it's got a new Sony sensor that is 48 megapixel little Sony sensor. So you can take photos up to 48 megapixel, which is quite crazy.
Yeah, and again, I think the larger sensor size, the half-inch sensor, and the 48 megapixels is a great combination. It's going to mean that, particularly in low light, where I have found a lot of people have been doing this, flying these kinds of drones, have been getting like sunrises and sunsets and stuff like that. I think that's going to be a big game changer, because you can get your ISO down and get rid of a lot of that noise because of that. So yeah, it'll be quite cool, I think, to see. 24mm equivalent focal length, which is quite good, I think, because it fits in nicely then to most people's productions that they're going to be tied into. But also, I think in general, it's just, all of the different photo modes that we've had before have all just been bumped up a little bit from things like the original Mavic. So yeah, quite a capable system overall, I'd say.
So what was it on the Mavic Air 1 then, the equivalent? Do you know the focal length on the Air 1?
Can't remember off the top of my head, but I can find it I can dive in and grab it if you want me to. Take a look.
I was just wondering, what is it usually? Is 24 usually what it is around there, or is it very different to what it is?
So we normally see them around 24 now for these types of aircraft, although traditionally it was kind of 16, 18, and gradually we've been getting more towards what we would expect to be a standard kind of focal length, so that we can tie it in nicely with other footage. There's less of that kind of curving around the edges that we used to get on the earlier aircraft, for example.
Yeah. Is it my turn or your turn?
It's your turn, I think. Oh, is it?
My turn.
It might be my turn. I'm not sure, mate. I'm sorry. I keep jumping in, don't I?
I think I've got only one more key fact to say.
Okay.
Which is just the physical thing, that it's got a completely new remote, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the actual.
Yeah, that's a great shout, actually.
I know that people used to have problems with the knobs of the little joysticks. So now I think they completely slot on the bottom over there, and the actual phone goes on the top of the remote rather than on the bottom.
That's right.
And the antennas are built in on it as well, so you don't have to have the antennas out, because everyone has them out different ways. No one knows how to use them.
Pointing up, pointing sideways. Yeah, no, that's a good one, actually. So yeah, I'd go with that one next, mate, if I were you. That's a great shout.
Did it get any upgrades on how high it can go and the distance? I think you mentioned.
Yeah, so with the OcuSync 2 built into it, it can potentially go out to 10 kilometers away where it's legal to do that. Again, not that we can do that in the UK, but 10 kilometers. Whereas the original Mavic Air with the Wi-Fi, you were lucky to get a kilometer away, I think most people were finding. And then if you were flying it anywhere in kind of an urban environment, then you wouldn't get anywhere near that. So
from my point of just tech guy, and believe me, I don't have any drones at the moment. I've flown a few drones, and I quite find them fascinating. But looking at these specs, and as a video content creator type from the view, is that I think it's pretty cool in terms of the resolutions and quality, and the usability of this little drone, and the price point sounds pretty good. So what interests me is like, what would a drone industry professional would think of a drone like that?
Yeah, I think for me, the Mavic Air 2 sits in a very strange place, and if anyone's seen the video that I did, yesterday on the release day about it, kind of hating on it a little bit, just because for me it sits very much in a weird place. It's almost like they've taken a car with 4 wheels and said, oh, let's add another wheel and 5 wheels will make it cooler and we can sell it. Yes, there's a few cool things in there, like we've kind of just talked about, and it will be a great drone if someone, if someone's looking for a drone and they don't want to spend on a Mavic 2 Pro, maybe they can't afford the Mavic 2 Pro, maybe they want something that's a bit better than the Mavic Mini, then I suppose this is the great solution, because it is a good drone. There's no doubt about it. The specs are there, the camera technology now is there, as it is in most of drones in this kind of class. It's good enough. But if it was me, I just think, if I couldn't afford the Mavic 2 Pro, I'd go for a Mavic Mini, because it does probably 85% of what this does, and it's a bit smaller, it's a lot cheaper. I would rather save the extra cash, a little bit extra, or sell my Mavic Mini and get the Mavic 2 Pro personally. If this had been a CE certified drone, so if it had gone through the process and been certified, which means if and when you get qualifications you can use it a lot closer to people, then it would have been an absolute game changer, there's no doubt about it. But as it is, personally I think it seems as though it's not designed for the UK market, it's not designed for the EU market. DJI bought it out for another reason. So, a great drone if you want to be in that middle ground between, I don't want to do anything professionally with it, but I want to spend some money and have something that can do a good job rather than something that does it very well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, tell me more about the CA qualifications, or what we're saying over there, because I think maybe most people don't know what that is, and why is it different in the EU and different in somewhere else. So what's that exactly? Yeah,
so essentially the regulations that govern how we can now fly drones, and obviously as more and more people have got drones and we've had all the negative press over the last few years, the regulations have become tighter, and I think most people are kind of becoming aware of that now. And the regulations as they stand right now at the time of shooting the video say that if you want to fly a drone and make money from it, if you want to make kind of commercial gain and valuable benefit from it, then you have to have a qualification. You have to have a permission from the Civil Aviation Authority to be able to make money from flying your drone. And that's kind of where our courses on the business side step in. That's where the school side steps in, because you can do your course, you can get that qualification and go. The interesting part is that those regulations change. They were meant to change on the 1st of July, but there's just been, because of the current situation, there's been a delay to that, and they're now coming in on the 1st of November, which says that you can fly a drone after that date without needing any qualifications at all, which is awesome for all of the amateur photographers, all the techies out there, people like you. Yeah, exactly that. That's it, and you'll be able to fly your drone without doing £1,000 course to make money from it, and that is amazing, and it's going to open up so many opportunities. But it's really important to know that you can do that in what's called the open category. So you're going to have to stay 150 meters away from built up areas and 50 meters away from uninvolved people. Okay, now then that's when the qualifications come in, because you need to do different qualifications to be able to get closer to people, not under your control, and closer to built up areas. So there's one for hobbyists effectively called the A2 Certificate of Competency, which is a really simple theory course. It's all done online by ourselves now, and a little theory exam. You get a certificate and you can crack on. With that, if this drone had been certified and it had its CE stamp on it, then you could have flown this drone potentially anywhere you wanted within reason, as long as you'd done that certificate, down to within 5 meters of uninvolved people, which is absolutely incredible. Like, that would have been a game changer. But unfortunately, as it is, because it doesn't have that stamp on, you'll have to do a course to be able to fly it in congested areas, and it's the expensive course, not the hobby course as well, effectively, that you'd need to do. And when we get to the 1st of July 2022, unless you've done that course, you then don't have a choice. You can only fly this drone 150 meters away from built up areas and 50 meters away from people. So that for me is the the thing that's a shame, and it feels as though, like I say, it's been bought out for another market, like the American market maybe, or the Asian market, where the regulations are totally different. They have their own rules, and it fits in nicely there. But for us, I don't know. I'm struggling to say go out and buy it, because I'm always open and honest about these things, right? And we sell it, so I'm like, I want people to buy it, but I'd rather people not hate me for saying go out and buy it because it's awesome, and then in 2 years go, this guy told me to buy this and I can't fly it now. You know, that isn't where we want to be. We want to spend the money on tech that lasts, that's good for us, that is cool. For me, it's a cool drone if it's the only one you've got and you want to spend 769 quid. But if you want to save your money, I would wait until a CE drone comes out or go and buy a Mavic 2 Pro.
Can I just say that's very, very interesting, because for me that was completely new. I didn't know that this thing even exists, so thanks for opening that over there. But as you mentioned before, that actually goes only for the EU side, like Americans and all North America and all different parts of the world. Obviously the regulations are different, so I know if you're watching this from the US, this is obviously different from you and it happens different. So what would you say to people who are watching this maybe from America? What is it cool for them? Are this all good for them? Yeah,
that's it. I mean, to be honest, the issues I've got with the Mavic Air 2 are purely a UK-based thing. It is a good drone. It's just it doesn't fit into our regulatory framework, as it will be in a couple of years' time. It's incredibly capable at a great price point, and I think if you're flying under the FAA regulations or the Transport Canada regulations, and this fits your requirements, then it's a DJI product. It's going to be incredible. We know that they are so good. They never miss the mark in terms of the tech. I mean, they're a tech lover's dream, aren't they? Basically, DJI. So yeah, I think from that perspective, if you're in a country where the regulations support this type of drone, it's pretty difficult to beat, and then it's quite difficult to justify jumping up to the Mavic 2 Pro, right? It's only in the UK where I say save your money, because that is the better drone given our current circumstances.
If you guys have any other questions about the Mavic drone, or if you'd like to know what the expert Matt has to say, then comment below. Me and Matt will be in the comment section below looking at all your comments and answering all that. So that is it for the Mavic 2 type of thing, but I'm more interested in hearing more about Matt. What does Matt do? And by the way, if you're wanting to get this drone, and if you don't know what we're talking about, I'll leave a link in the description where you can check out the drone as well, and check it out basically. But a few questions for Matt. So Matt, what drones are you flying actually? So tell us, what do you do and what drones do you fly? I think people will be interested about that.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that kind of we specialise in, the thing that I now specialise in, we've got the company that does all the training, and I don't do any flying in the UK anymore professionally, because it puts me in direct competition with the people that we're training, and I don't feel as though that's very fair, because our marketing budget, for example, is probably more than most people. Yeah, that's it, right? It's quite high, so I don't think that's fair. So we now deliberately only do stuff abroad, and for me it's generally very high risk work with very high value equipment. Flying in places that other people won't or can't, flying stuff that people don't have. So we generally fly things like the Freefly Alta 8, a big octocopter. It's kind of almost 2 meters across, and we fly things like Red Helium, Red Monstro, Alexa Mini, that kind of camera. Quite often, the camera packages, when you put the lens on, anamorphic lenses and stuff, we're flying up to £250,000 worth of gear at a time. It's proper camera operator, drone operator, and then a focus puller as well. It's quite an involved operation. So we've done things like the America's Cup. We go chasing the boats for the America's Cup, doing the live sports broadcast feed for that. We've done lots of high-end movies, and that's kind of where we step in. It's the Freefly Alta 8 is our kind of go-to. We've also had the Intuitive Aerogun, which was a 12-bladed drone. We could fly that up to 25 kilos. And I've flown things like the Shotover U1, which is a 32-kilo drone. It's pretty epic. That's what we primarily fly. But if we come back down to the kind of prosumer range, then the Inspire 2 is the absolute, that is a professional tool that's available to the end user. You know, you're not going to go too mad with that, but crikey, we try and convince production to use the Inspire 2 wherever we can, because when you grade that footage in, you cannot tell whether it is from an Alexa Mini, whether it's from a Red Monstro. If you don't look at the resolution, that is, you know, it's absolutely incredible. So yeah, so it's...
Is that Inspire 2 like one of the only consumer drones that shoots 10-bit, or is there any other ones that shoot 10-bit as well?
The Inspire 2 at the moment is the only one that we've used that has a kind of 10-bit that is usable, if you like, in terms of putting it onto high-end production, yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. So pretty soon I realized that DJI is like quite a small, like a drone that you're flying. You're flying much bigger bad boys.
Yeah,
if you can say that.
That's it. And for us, it's all about the camera, right? So if we've got to fly an Alexa Mini, if we've got to fly an FS7 with a big lens on, then we haven't got a choice. We have to step up to something that has the power and capability of doing that safely.
Do you know any other companies apart from DJI who might be consumer friendly? So let's say someone's watching this and they're like, you know, I had really bad experience of DJI. Is there actually any other kind of okay drones out there that aren't DJI?
Do you know what? And I never thought I'd say this, but the Parrot and Nafi, the new version of the new Parrot drones that are out there are actually really good quality, really user friendly, and actually, you know, are at a great price point as well. We are starting to see more and more people buy into the Parrot range. I think that now the growth on their side is massive because they've got some really good products now. So yeah, for me, the one to watch, I think, is that Parrot side of things. You know, you've got Skydio as well, the Skydio 2, that is, again, a really cool aircraft, but unfortunately not for the UK market, not for the EU market. You know, I don't think they're even shipping it over here at the moment because it just doesn't fit in with the regulations with its AI. But again, you know, being able to exploit that tech, if you're in a country where you can't go wrong with that kind of thing. Yeah, so there are alternatives to DJI, but I think, you know, as much as it pains me to say it, DJI still do kind of rule the roost in that respect. There's not really a proper competitor, I wouldn't suggest, at the quality that they can deliver, at the user friendliness that they deliver, and the price point they're at. My
last question for you is, how did you end up in this like drone world? How did you become a drone expert? How do you have like the biggest commercial drone company in the world? How did you end up here?
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those weird kind of routes to where you've ended up, isn't it? But I think, you know, I've always been obsessed with aviation. The manned aviation thing that I did as an instructor in the Air Force for a long time. I used to get bantered remorselessly by the guys and girls at work for going and flying model helicopters and model planes at the weekend. And that was where it came from. You know, I flew model helicopters and model planes before I flew real aircraft as a kid. And you know, I think I then had an accident in the Air Force when I was teaching, damaged my neck quite significantly, got medically discharged, and that was then, you know, it was about 2 years before the drone revolution started, and we put big cameras onto big model helicopters that we built ourselves, started flying those for film and TV. There were no regulations at the time, there was no insurance, it was really dangerous looking back, really crazy. But you know, we delivered a cool product that production companies loved, and then we saw the drone thing coming and we thought, actually, do you know what, let's get into selling these, and if we're going to sell them, we also want to make sure that people are doing it safely. So we set up the training school. We were one of the very first to do that, crikey, 5 and a bit years ago now. And I think a combination of our marketing, our expertise, our background in aviation in general has all just combined and got us to this crazy place where we are now, where we've got, you know, thousands of people that have come through our training, and we've done some really big productions with some really kind of high-end companies and movies that you'll have seen yourself at home.
Can you mention any of the high-end movies and things that you've said that you filmed?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the top-end ones, like we've worked on things like The Martian, which you may have seen with Matt Damon. We've worked on some of the Bond series, some of the Star Wars series as well, particularly on those doing helping to do the 3D mapping of the sets that they've used overseas. So yeah, and that's quite interesting because they then take the point cloud and that's how they blow up, do all the video effects, and that's how they then make a lot of the games as well that are out now for that thing. They use the 3D point cloud that we've been out and shot, and yeah, so all sorts of things. Yeah, really interesting.
Does your training only happen in the UK, or does that training company like spread around the world, or how are you linked to other parts of the world?
Yeah, so at the moment our training is UK specific. Although that being said, what is quite cool in a way is that when the new regulations come in, they're going to be Europe wide. And although we're not going to be part of Europe, thanks for that. Whatever your take is on that, that's up to you. But although we won't be a member state, the training that we will do and the qualification that we will be giving people is, to all intents and purposes, exactly the same as it is in all of the other EU countries. So we are hoping that when those new regulations come in, and it will be 2021 or 2022 that all of the countries in the EU adopt those, it should be a very simple kind of thing for us then as a business to jump over to the other European countries and have, effectively, I guess, franchises over there where they'll be able to deliver the training that we do in the UK in those countries, which is quite exciting actually. And that means that then hopefully, finally, the Icarus certificate, international certificate of approval for remote unmanned systems is what we always called it, will be truly international. You'll be able to use it all over the world. So that'll be quite an exciting move, really.
So if you have any other questions about Mavic 2 or any other questions about drones and flying drones, then comment them below. If I haven't said that enough already, Matt's gonna be in the comment sections below and answering them all, and I'll just do my best to have fun with the people who have commented, because obviously he knows much more than I do. If you're interested in seeing what Matt is actually doing and some of the company or some of the training, I'm gonna leave a link in the comment section below as well if you want to check that out. And then yeah, Matt, when you go on the training, you'll see Matt over there and he'll be teaching you all the drone stuff.
That's it.
Anything else you want to say, Matt?
No, that's it. No, thank you ever so much for having me on. It's great to kind of chat to other people and see other people, particularly in these times where we're stuck in the four walls with the family, right? It's been a while now, so no, thanks for having us. And like you say, if anyone's got any questions, just fire them into us, and we'll get those done. That's how we work, right? We just answer the questions that people send us, and that's where all of our kind of videos and all that comes from. It's for you. To help you out if there's stuff you don't know. So guys, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, subscribe to Tech Notice, subscribe to Mr. MPW, that's over there. Thanks very much guys for watching, I'll see you soon, bye bye.